How can you get a hold of a professional lightsaber for free? Why are there tacos hiding out in the new Toy Story themed restaurant? And why should you break the rules the next time you visit Hollywood Studios? We're filling you in on all the secrets today on DFB Guide. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. Disney's Hollywood Studios might not be as big as Epcot and Animal Kingdom, but it's so rich with Easter eggs and sneaky tricks that we could probably make 5 billion videos just about, uncovering all its secrets. But we're gonna spare ourselves that labor of love and stick with our favorite 50 for now. Don't worry, we're working our way up to 5 billion. All right, we're going to start with how to get on all the rides with no waiting. Okay, we're coming out swinging with this video, apparently. What isn't a secret about Hollywood Studios is how incredibly long the lines can get for those A-lister rides. And here's a tip, they're all A-lister, which is why we've become quick fans of the After Hours event. When you buy a separate After Hours event ticket for Hollywood Studios, you're going to be able to visit attractions, entertainment, and character greetings for 3 hours after the park closes for everyone else. And you know what that means? Way shorter lines, because they do not sell that many tickets for this. The capacity is limited to help guarantee you're going to have easy access to the rides, including the super popular Rise of the Resistance. And guess what else? Ice cream, popcorn, and select drinks are included in the price too. After Hours for Hollywood Studios are only running a little bit longer until June 28th, but that doesn't mean they won't be back for 2024 too. Our fingers are crossed. We'll let you know if and when more events are added just as soon as we hear about them. But even though this isn't about Epcot, they do have After Hours in Epcot throughout the summer. Alright, so you don't want to spend $200 plus on a Savi's Workshop lightsaber. There are other much cheaper ways for young Jedis to get their hands on this signature Star Wars gear. Over at Tatooine Traders in Hollywood Studios, you can build your own lightsaber, and you don't even need a reservation for it. Just walk up to the building station and get to crafting. You can get a single blade lightsaber for $30 or a dual blade one for $45. These sabers won't be as high quality as the ones you'd make over at Savi's, but they're still sabers, they're still super cool, and your kids are still going to be able to whack each other over the heads with them all day long. So there you go. Now, how about getting the best showing of an extremely popular nighttime show? There are 3 different methods we like to use to get the best view possible for Fantasmic, and we want to share them with you today so you can take advantage of these too. Strategy 1, go to the second showing. Fantasmic doesn't always have 2 showings each night, but when it does, plan to go to the second one since it tends to be a lot less crowded. Strategy 2, sit right in the middle. The middle row in the middle of the amphitheater bleachers is going to give you the best views, but if the middle row is filled up and you have to choose whether to grab seats closer or further back from the stage, choose the ones further back. The water effects will spray you constantly from those front row seats, and the heat of the fire effects can be pretty toasty too. Strategy 3, look into the dining packages. If Fantasmic is a #1 priority for you, the Fantasmic Dining Package offers a meal at a participating restaurant in Hollywood Studios, which comes with reserved seating for a showing of Fantasmic. You can book this package online or by calling 407-WDW-DINE. Now it's time to head into Disney World's newest restaurant and find all the hidden Mickeys. Let's see if your eyes are sharp enough to find them amongst all the colors and oversized props at Roundup Rodeo Barbecue. Hidden Mickey number 1. See that giant milk carton entryway? The cow on the side has a rather suspiciously Mickey-shaped spot on it, don't you think? Hidden Mickey 2, the green spherical section on the ceiling right above Bo Peep might all be coming together to form a planet, but that's not the only shape it's creating. There honestly might be several Hidden Mickeys in this circular conglomeration, but we'll just count it as one to keep things fair. And Hidden Taco? Gotcha, Hidden Mickeys aren't the only search and find icons in this restaurant. 2 hidden tacos can also be found here too. Fun fact, Roundup Rodeo Barbecue was referred to as Project Tacos while in development. Though that might seem random for a barbecue joint, tacos is an anagram for ascot, a direct reference to Barbie and Ken from the 3rd film. One of the tacos you can find is chilling out underneath Lil Bo Peep's sheep. All right, we'll stop there for now, although one of the cast members did tell us that there are 14 hidden Mickeys confirmed in this restaurant, per the release of this video, that is. Who knows? Maybe more will be discovered as time goes on. And don't forget, you can become a bounty hunter. A bounty hunter's work is never done, not even on vacation, my friends. If you purchase a Magic Band Plus, Have the Play Disney Parks app downloaded and visit Batuu over in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, then you too can be part of Hollywood Studios' newest scavenger hunt game. When you're ready to get started, open the Play Disney Parks app and head to the bounty board located in Galaxy's Edge. The bounty board is near the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run ride. Once you get to the bounty board, you'll tap your Magic Band Plus to the board and get your bounty hunter assignment. Once you learn about the details of your job, this scavenger hunt works a lot like a game of hot and cold. As you move around Galaxy's Edge, your Magic Band Plus will start flashing one of 3 colors: green, red, or purple. If it's flashing red, that means you're moving away from your target. If your Magic Band Plus flashes green, that means you're getting close to your target, and when your Magic Band Plus turns purple, that's how you know you're there. It is time to roll the dice. All right, I'm having too much fun with the Roundup Rodeo secrets. How about another one real quick? Locate the dice next to Bo Peep. The value that you see is no random sequence of black dots. Instead, if you add them all up, they equal the amount of times Ken had a costume change in Toy Story 3. Ascot's wardrobe changes, lots of little nods to the Ken doll here, and we love to see it. Okay, we have a love-hate relationship with Pizza Rizzo here at Disney Food Blog. We love the theming, not too crazy on the actual food, but I do love this hidden secret. If you happen to be near this quick service location once the sun's gone down, look for the neon Pizza Rizzo sign next to the balcony. At first, the sign lights up with a nice statement, the city's top-rated pizza. But as the letters start to flash on and off, the truth is revealed. Turns out our suspicions are confirmed. It's rat pizza. So heading back to the murky depths of Batuu, there is a sneaky monster who's keeping a careful eye on things, even you. Go to the water fountain at the entrance of the Batuu marketplace right next to the restrooms, and you might notice a slimy one-eyed creature hiding in the piping, ready to pop out and stare at you. This suspicious creature is known as a Dianoga, aka the trash compactor monster. These are monstrous mollusks used for waste management in the Star Wars galaxy, and if you're familiar with the Star Wars films, then you're probably already well aware of this, since the one that was kept on the Death Star almost killed Luke and company during A New Hope. Pesky creatures. Dianogas usually make their homes in the filthiest places imaginable, which isn't great considering the home of this particular Dianoga is attached to the water fountain you're drinking out of. Maybe that bottle of Dasani isn't looking too expensive after all. Oh, this is a really fun one. Just when you think you've tracked down all the Galaxy's Edge secrets you can, more arise, and more, including secrets inside the Toydarian toy shop. If you look up while standing in this tiny shop, you'll find toys hanging from the ceiling. These are in a perpetual state of reenactments from famous scenes in the Star Wars franchise. These include the Millennium Falcon escaping Imperial ships by hiding in an asteroid field, and Obi-Wan Kenobi dueling Darth Vader on the Death Star. Spoilers. Okay, are you up for a classic cult-following secret? The Rocketeer story about stunt pilot Cliff Second turned hero, originally released as a comic book back in the 80s before making its big film debut in the 90s. Although The Rocketeer wasn't exactly a blockbuster film, many still remember this tale of the jetpack-toting hero very fondly. Even Disney pays tribute to it by tucking a Rocketeer reference into a discreet location inside Hollywood Studios. When you're in Echo Lake feeling rather parched, consider swinging by the Peavy's Polar Pipeline slush stand. This is named after one of the Rocketeer's sidekicks, Peavy, and sells your basic frozen Cokes and lemonades. But if you look behind the counter of this little kiosk, you'll find the Rocketeer's iconic helmet and jetpack. Now, looks can be deceiving, except for the Hollywood Tower Hotel. It's just as creepy and haunted as you think it is. When you walk up Sunset Boulevard and towards the Hollywood Tower Hotel, you'll notice a sign out front that simply says the Hollywood Tower Hotel. Nothing scary about that, right? Well, come back and check out this same sign at night, and every now and then the sign will transform to say the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Enter if you dare. How can you secure the best score in the vehicle on Toy Story Mania? Try some of these secret strategies. During the first game, you'll be earning points by tossing eggs at farm-themed targets. See that barn in the top corner? Hit all those animals to flip the barn. Each time you flip the barn, the points on all the other animals in the game go up. The very next game is all about dinos and active volcanoes. A few seconds after the game kicks off, you'll notice 3 lava balloons spewing from the top of the volcano. Pop all 3 of these to trigger the next secret. Now, even though you're competing against everyone in the vehicle, you'll need your riding buddy for this one. Once you pop all the lava balloons, a comet will appear in the top corner of each side of the screen. Both partners need to hit the comet 3 times to erupt the volcano and unlock tons of 500-point balloons. And in the mine car scene, right before the bonus round begins, you're going to want to hit as many of those mine cars as you can before they topple over the edge. But don't miss the bats that fall down from the top of the screen over the cars. Hitting the bats will make the mine cars worth more points. Ready to walk around a giant hidden Mickey? So some hidden Mickeys are just too big to be seen from the ground, which doesn't seem quite fair when you're trying to track down as many as possible in a single trip, but hey, Disney did not ask me. If you want to find the biggest hidden Mickey in Hollywood studios, you're gonna have to use a helicopter, which probably isn't happening anytime soon. That's because the buildings and landscaping in the park's central hub by Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway form a large Mickey head. But if you want a better look at it safely from the ground, you can see it represented on the Hollywood Studios park map too, and probably Google Earth. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway forms Mickey's mouth, Echo Lake is his right ear, the area by Hollywood Brown Derby is his left ear, and various planters and trees are his eyes, eyebrows, and nose. Now, you ready to learn about a secret fake company? Before Mickey Mouse was, well, Mickey Mouse, he almost went by a different name. Walt Disney was about to call our park mascot here Mortimer Mouse, until his wife Lillian Disney was like, no, please don't do that. Actually, what Lillian really said was that Mortimer sounded like a name for a more stuck-up character and not one for a charismatic mouse that'd be the star of his budding company. So y'all need to thank Lillian Disney since she's the real reason we can sing the M-I-C-K-E-Y song. So what does this bit of name history have to do with Hollywood studios? Well, Mortimer still lives on, even through the park's streets. If you look at the bases of the traffic lights in both Hollywood and Sunset Boulevard, you'll notice they're all marked with a company name stamp called Mortimer & Co. 1928. This isn't a real light company, rather it's a direct reference to Mickey's original name. Or it could technically be a reference to the mean Mortimer Mouse that was introduced to the Mickey cartoons later on, but he's kind of a jerk, so he doesn't get to get his own company, so there. Alright, we are back in Batu for some secret numbers. Disney secrets can be uncovered even in the most unsuspected places, like an intergalactic fast food joint, for instance. Before you head into Docking Bay 7 Food and Cargo to get some space grub, take a look at the cargo boxes above the building. On it, you're going to see 77, 80, and 83. And if you're a big Star Wars fan, you'll already know what those stand for. Need a hint? Just put the number 19 before each of them and you'll have the 3 release years for the original Star Wars trilogy films. Now, this is an oldie but a goodie, so you Disney historians already know this one, but for the newbies, it's a fun one. You gotta find the key to get into Muppet Studios. Who wouldn't want access to Muppet Studios? If you said you wouldn't, then please don't admit that to me because it'll break my heart. While you're visiting the Grand Arts Theater for some first-class Muppet Vision 3D, you might notice a sign at the security desk saying back in 5 minutes, key is under the mat. If you do exactly that and look under the mat, there it is, Muppet security at its finest. Now here's a rather shocking Hollywood Studios secret, literally. Florida can get some really nasty storms, but we're not just talking about the hurricanes here. We're talking good old-fashioned thunder and lightning storms that could either interrupt your afternoon or, in a worst-case scenario, the rest of your day. Because of how frequently these storms happen, there are actually lightning rods scattered throughout each park in Disney World, often hidden in plain sight. The most prominent lightning rod is in Disney's Hollywood Studios at the Crossroads of the World replica, which you'll see right when you enter the park. The right ear of the Mickey Mouse standing on top is actually made of copper and doubles as a lightning rod. Oh, kids, they say the wildest things sometimes, even through their board games. All of Toy Story Land is full of colorful details, and the bathrooms are no exception. I mean, spelling restrooms out of Scrabble pieces? Brilliant. But perhaps the silliest detail around this pit stop area is the giant board game that you're going to find right next to the girls' restrooms. Remember those playground taunts where boys and girls would tell each other they had cooties? To drive the message home, a cooties game sits right next to the girls' room. Real mature there, Andy, real mature. And we are back inside Roundup Rodeo Barbecue again because this restaurant is themed around all things Toy Story. Expect there to be a lot of toy shenanigans that you'll be expected to take part of. You are an honorary toy after all. For example, listen closely to the audio being played in the restaurant. Every now and then you might hear Sarge yell out, "Andy's coming!" When this happens, prepare to freeze in place so that Andy doesn't catch you. Even the servers will freeze wherever they are because they don't want to be responsible for blowing anyone's cover either. Now, you've seen the New Age Mickey Mouse short featuring Mickey, Donald, and Goofy as they visit America's Potato Land, right? Of course you have. And you're not going to want to miss this hidden away photo op. Over at the Mickey Shorts Theater, you can watch Mickey, Minnie, and the whole gang recount some of their favorite vacation adventures. After the show wraps up, you'll head out of the theater and be met with several photo ops based around some of those Mickey shorts. But the main draw here is, of course, Potato Land. That's right, Cinderella Castle, you've got some stiff competition over here because now I get to take a picture with a giant potato. Now, Roger Rabbit may not be the most popular character in Disney World, but he still makes his appearances when he can. He'll even break a window if he has to. Look above Hollywood and Vine and at the windows lined above the restaurant, specifically the window next to the tribute one that says Eddie Valiant Private Investigator. Looks like someone's crashed to the upstairs party. I'll give you 3 guesses who it is, and the first 2 don't count. Now, working aboard the Millennium Falcon might be a dream scenario for you, as is, but what if you could sweeten the deal and work aboard the Millennium Falcon with Chewie as your co-pilot? On Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, there's a secret way to replace Hondo Ohnaka for Chewbacca mode before your mission begins. Here's how it's done. You need to get a group of 6 people to all work together here. Both pilots need to move their controls to the far left or right and far up and down before pushing the activation button. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew needs to hit one of the white buttons on their control panels before hitting the orange activation button. Do all this before the cast member secures the cabin and clears you for takeoff, and you'll be taking flight with your favorite Wookiee. So why should you order a classic Shirley Temple drink the next time you are at Hollywood Brown Derby? Because it's loaded with history, featuring America's favorite little starlet, Shirley Temple herself. Now, Shirley Temple was one of the biggest Hollywood stars in the late 1930s, which meant she was invited to a lot of parties and dinners. However, she was way too young to drink the alcohol at any of these events, like all the grown-ups around her could, so a bartender came up with a fancy drink to keep her from feeling left out. Thus, the Shirley Temple was born. Traditionally, a Shirley Temple combines grenadine and ginger ale with a bit of lime or lemon lime soda depending on who's making it. And of course, a maraschino cherry or 2, or 8. Multiple restaurants, including the original Hollywood Brown Derby that the park's signature restaurant is based after, claim to have invented this drink for Temple. But a Hollywood restaurant called Chasen's is widely regarded as the true originator. That being said, Temple dined frequently at the Brown Derby and stated that it was the spot that made the drink popular. But here's the kicker. While millions of other folks have really grown to love this drink, Temple herself thought it was way too sweet. That's right, the girl who literally put animal crackers in her soup thought a cherry soda was too sugary for her. Oh well, we still love it. Did you know you can take a picture in an iconic and romantic scene? This is the movie park after all. If you're someone who thinks Han Solo and Leia are the power couple of the century, then do not pass up this photo opportunity. When you are riding Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run and you are led into the room where you're waiting to go to your cockpit, right? You're going to be able to spot the wall from The Empire Strikes Back where Han and Leia first kissed. Make sure to grab a quick pic here and maybe a smooch from your honey too. There's actually X's and O's to note it. Did you know you can find iconic and authentic Star Wars props in Disney World? Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities is fun to step into even if you're not planning on buying anything, just to meet Doc Ondar live and in person. But don't forget to check out the other little odds and ends hanging around this shop too. If you look up at the wall, for instance, you can find Queen Amidala's head wrap and the Mandalorian's helmet, among a lot of other cool stuff. Walt Disney made it very clear that his entire company all started with a mouse, so it's very bizarre to think that Mickey Mouse didn't get to star in his own theme park ride until just a couple years ago. Now don't be mistaken, Mickey has been the heart and soul of quite a few shows and attractions across the parks since Mickey's PhilharMagic and Magic Kingdom and Fantasmic and Hollywood Studios, but Mickey didn't get a ride until Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway opened in 2020. Now, nothing can stop him now from bringing guests of all ages a fun, trackless 2.5D dark ride experience. We don't normally tell you to break the rules in Disney World. Actually, we normally tell you to do the exact opposite. But in this case, you're going to want to be a little rebellious. Near the entrance of the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular Theater, you're going to spot a deep, deep well with a pulley system right above it. Next to the hole, there's a sign that clearly states, "Warning, do not pull rope." But since the knot seems to be slashed out, this sign's totally giving mixed messages here. So when in doubt, pull the rope. But just so you know, your actions will come with consequences. Not for you, but for someone else. Whoops. Maybe meeting a haunted ventriloquist dummy isn't the kind of magic you were expecting at the most magical place on Earth, but we're gonna meet one anyways. The spooky ventriloquist dummy from the Twilight Zone who manipulated his hosts into committing crimes during his episode actually lives inside the basement of Tower of Terror. Hooray for Disney magic! But don't worry, Caesar is not gonna possess you or anything. He's retired from that life and now spends his days just chilling next to the exit of the elevators. Be sure to say hi to him. You can't have a successful movie without top-notch costume designers, so make sure to pay your due respect to two of the greats while you're hanging around Hollywood Boulevard. At the end of the Hollywood Boulevard strip to your right, if you're entering into the park, you'll spot the sign for Adrian and Edith's head-to-toe shop. While these may seem like two random names to you, these are actually the names of two top-tier Hollywood costume designers. Adrian Greenberg, who just went by Adrian, was best known for creating the costumes in The Wizard of Oz, including the famous ruby slippers. Edith Head, on the other hand, received the most Academy Awards ever, 8, for costume design. Although you might recognize her classic work in Roman Holiday and Rear Window, Edith is better known to the Disney community as the inspiration behind none other than Edna Mode in The Incredibles. Fabulous, darling. Hollywood Studios has a brand new way to celebrate a legendary Imagineer. Imagineers are responsible for the Disney magic we know and love. They create all of it. One important Imagineer, Bob Weiss, who was once the president of Disney Imagineering, but was the Global Imagineering Ambassador most recently, you can follow him on LinkedIn, I do, retired at the end of 2022, and Disney knew just how they wanted to thank him for his hard work. Walt Disney Imagineering shared on Instagram that Bob has been honored with his very own window in Hollywood Studios. This is a tradition for legendary Imagineers and folks who have made important contributions to Disney. You can find his window and several others above Hollywood and Vine, so keep an eye out for him there next time you're in the park. Okay, we have a red alert for you, my friends. The Hapabor sampler has changed. Now, a lot of you are like, what are you talking about, AJ? Don't worry, I'll explain. One of our least favorite snacks to order in the parks has been the Hapabor sampler platter inside Oga's Cantina forever. It was expensive, not super filling, and had a bunch of items that honestly we could have put together ourselves really easily, like it was literally Spam and string cheese. Thanks, Disney, but I'll keep my $21 and spend it somewhere else. But we here at DFB don't hold grudges, and we know that food changes all the time, not just in Galaxy's Edge, but everywhere on property. So we decided recently to order this sampler again, for science, because that's what we do. And wouldn't you know, it did change, and it changed for the better. On the platter now, you'll get items like uncooked chorizo, very beef jerky-like, a gummy sugary orange disc, I don't know, pastrami with mustard seeds, anise torte with honey meringue, very sweet, very easy to break, very good. A thinly sliced and chewy prosciutto with a nice savory flavor, goat cheese dyed blue, which is basically regular crumbly goat cheese but blue, bean mix, aka a basic hummus, caveman blue cheese, which tasted garlicky and tart, bagel chips, and goat cheese rolled in chicharrones dust, pork rinds. So now we've got a lot of different snacky items that make the sampler more worth the price and much more galactic feeling than before, because, string cheese, really? Would I order this if I had picky eaters in my group, or if I wanted to spend my $21 on like an actual meal? Probably not, but what I will say is that this sampler platter isn't as taboo as it was before. Are you ready to join the Resistance in 2 different ways? So your adventure on Rise of the Resistance might be different the next time you ride, but that's not the First Order messing with you. That's just how the ride is set up. Upon boarding, you'll be loaded into one of 2 transport vehicles. Because the 2 vehicles go at the same time, this results in both cars having a slightly different experience. It's like how Space Mountain has a left and right track. You're basically getting the same ride through with slight changes to the layout. Before you board, you'll be assigned a color at Rise of the Resistance. Blue and red go in the front vehicle, orange and white go in the back. So here are the 3 main differences you're going to find depending on if you're riding in that front or back vehicle. Change number 1, early into the ride, a probe droid emerges looking for Resistance prisoners, aka you. The front car will see the probe droid up close while the back car just passes by it when the droid is lowered. Change number 2, in the AT-AT room, the front car goes through the AT-ATs and turns left, backing into the elevator with a view of Finn in his stormtrooper gear against a wall. Then, after rising up, the front car is face-to-face with 2 stormtroopers inside the head of the AT-AT on a screen with a red digital haze. On the other hand, the back car moves through the AT-ATs and looks like it might actually escape the room through a large door. But the door closes and the back car is whisked backwards. This car also sees a Finn animatronic, but he's sitting behind some crates, avoiding fire from the blasters. When your transport vehicle rises up, you're looking at the side of the AT-AT and see an open side panel on the body with stormtroopers rushing around inside. And change number 3, the final difference happens both times that the riders encounter Kylo Ren. In both Kylo scenes, on the bridge and where the ship gets hit behind him near the end, the front car is to Kylo's left while the back car is to his right. The way the experience differs here is that Kylo turns different directions when addressing the riders with certain words. My favorite is red and blue, probably because that was the first one I rode, but it's fun to get 2 different experiences. Those screams you hear coming from Tower of Terror can get pretty intense, and although I don't believe for a second that there's a shortage of real screams, not all of that screaming you're hearing as you make your way down Sunset Boulevard is genuine. Disney actually plays recordings of screams to make the Hollywood Tower Hotel more intimidating. Not that it's not intimidating just to look at. Listen closely and you might notice that some of those screams start to sound the same after a while. But if I'm on the ride, you'll definitely be able to pick up my screams over the recordings. Okay, I know there are a lot of fun hidden secrets packed into Tower of Terror, but this might be the weirdest of the bunch. There's possibly a real jar of pickled sausages tucked away in this haunted hotel. Why? Great question. According to the story, while the Imagineers were working on this attraction, one of them brought a jar of pickled sausages to a friend as a prank gift. And what happens when you leave your pickled sausages in an attraction overnight and the glue crew comes to glue everything down? That jar gets cemented in place for all time. Take a look to your left in the PhotoPass window and you just might spot the jar in question. Ready to track down a hidden photo op? Not every Star Wars themed PhotoPass opportunity is located in Galaxy's Edge. There's actually a super underrated one located inside Animation Courtyard. At Star Wars Launch Bay, there's a PhotoPass station where you can get an iconic lightsaber photo without having to pay for a lightsaber first. This hidden spot is easy to miss, but you can find it inside the exhibition portion of the building just before you walk downstairs to meet some Star Wars characters. I really love this building. I feel like this is a secret in and of itself. Nobody really goes over here. It's nice, it's quiet, it's air conditioned, and you can meet a Wookiee. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Anyway, a PhotoPass photographer will be there to provide you with a lightsaber and take your photos, but forewarning, you will have to return the saber at the end of your session. Sorry about that. Sometimes Disney needs to make things look a whole lot bigger than they actually are, and that's where forced perspective comes into play. Forced perspective is used around several places throughout Disney to make buildings and structures look way taller, and that's what's going on in Galaxy's Edge too. Even though this area looks massive with scaling buildings all around you, the tallest spires in this land are only 130 feet, and that's about 69 feet shorter than Tower of Terror, which is 199 feet. Now, FYI, sometimes Disney uses forced perspective to make things look smaller, believe it or not. And that's the situation you have over at the American Adventure in Epcot, but we're not talking about Epcot right now, are we? You have to go watch our Epcot Secrets video. Hollywood studios can be a lot. There are so many people, especially during the afternoon. It can be really hot. It can be crowded. There's so many rides you want to get on, and everybody else does too. So if you need to break away from all the guests without actually leaving the park, here's where you can go. We're going to start with that secret I just mentioned before, Star Wars Launch Bay. This doesn't look like much, but it's one of the best hidden spots to escape in Hollywood studios. It's open daily from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Inside, you're going to find that wonderful AC, as well as the Star Wars memorabilia, costumes, models, movie props, and those rotating meet and greet characters too. Escape number 2, Walt Disney Presents. This is home to one-of-a-kind photos and models and sketches and costumes documenting Walt Disney's journey from birth to Disney World. It's not only an interesting gallery for fans of Disney history, but it also tends to be quiet and not super crowded, and it's air-conditioned. Escape number 3, Pizza Rizzo. Like I said, love-hate relationship going on here. The food may not be our favorite, but the restaurant itself can be an excellent spot to get some rest and take a break from the crowds, especially on the second floor. Celebrities everywhere inside the Hollywood Brown Derby. I mean, just look at all those caricatures lining the walls. Each of these cartoony drawings of Hollywood's big-time movie stars is either hanging in a black or gold frame, and that color coding system means something important. Any caricatures hanging in a black frame are caricature copies from the original Hollywood Brown Derby restaurant, while the ones in gold frames are the real deal, as in the original caricatures that once hung in the California restaurant all those years ago. At the end of Disney's 18-month-long 50th anniversary celebration, we were so not ready to say so long to our favorite festive treats, and thank goodness we don't have to yet, at least not on all of them. The Glimmer and Shimmer Blondie, which ended up becoming one of our favorite 50th anniversary snacks, was available at both Backlot Express and Fairfax Fair in Disney's Hollywood Studios. Though this sweet coconutty goodness seemed to have disappeared from both menus after the celebration wrapped up, upon further investigation, we noticed Fairfax Fair had a new dessert called the Toffee Coconut Blondie. Sure enough, it's the exact same thing we've grown to love more than we care to admit, just without the gold emblem and festive gold nuggets. The 50th celebration cookie at Rosie's All-American Cafe had a similar identity change and has been renamed to the Peanut Butter Cookie Sandwich, with a fantastic chocolate piece instead of the 50th themed film strip chocolate piece. While the Glimmer and Shimmer Earl Grey Cupcake from Charlie Carr Cafe is now just the Earl Grey Cupcake. So if you missed the 50th anniversary party but still want to try to fill that FOMO-shaped hole in your heart, you can still grab these snacks in the park, just with a different name. Rock and Roller Coaster, starring Aerosmith, did multiple songs that change on each ride through long before Cosmic Rewind was even a thought. There are 5 songs, or song compilations, you might hear when you hop in that super stretch limo, and there's a secret to telling which one you're gonna get. Each car has a license plate that identifies which song or songs you'll hear on your ride. BUHBYE, Bye-Bye, is the only car with 3 songs featured. But if you want to hear the Rock and Roller Coaster version of Love in an Elevator, which swaps elevator for roller coaster, just hope you get the car with You Go Babe as the plate. I still miss the Writer Stop Bakery and Bookstore to this very day. The coffee, the literature, the quiet oasis, the carrot cake cookie, all of it. The Writer Stop had to close with the streets of America to make way for Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land. In 2017, Baseline Tap House replaced my former favorite stomping grounds, becoming a location that serves craft brews and small bites, which I don't appreciate nearly as much, but that's a story for another day. Inside Baseline, the tiny lounge doesn't forget its roots. On the wall to the right of the counter, there are shelves full of knickknacks, and among these knickknacks are silver letters. Put those letters together, and they spell out the word Writer Stop, which I think is supposed to be a fun secret, but feels more like salt on an open wound if you ask me. Either way, that's the original Writer Stop sign that they repurposed to be decor. We've talked a lot about the hidden gems you'll find around Galaxy's Edge, but we can't leave out the secrets inside Star Tours. I'll give you 3 for now, but believe me when I say there are way more just waiting for you to uncover while you're in line. Secret number 1, as you walk through the queue, locate the window that features silhouettes of familiar droids and other characters. When R2-D2 shows up, he'll be sporting an iconic park accessory, those Mickey ears. Secret number 2, you may hear an announcement paging passenger Mr. Igroeg Sakul while you're waiting in line. This is actually George Lucas, spelled backwards. Secret number 3, keep an eye out for the junked droids inside the queue. The former pilot of this very ride, RX-24, or more commonly known as Rex, can be found in this trash heap and has been marked as defective. But don't feel too bad for this little guy. He did find a new job over at Oga's Cantina as a DJ and is now living his robo life to the fullest. It's fun to be one of the first few people to see a movie, which is why the Walt Disney Presents Theater can be really fun. Nope, you won't be able to catch any full-length feature films here, but on occasion this theater is used to showcase sneak previews of upcoming films in the Disney universe, meaning you might be able to see the first 10 to 15 minutes of a film before it ever releases to Disney Plus or the big screen. When a preview isn't playing, this theater defaults to Walt Disney's biopic, One Man's Dream. This short film explores Walt's hardships toward creating his animation studio and theme parks, and his very best successes, which led to the creation of the Walt Disney Company we know and admire today. You could honestly spend a full day in just the Muppet Vision 3D pre-showroom alone and still not track down every kooky pun hidden inside, but it's still fun to try. What are a couple of our favorites? I'm glad you asked. Look up and find a net full of green and orange Jell-O hanging from the ceiling. While this might seem super random, but not necessarily out of place because it's the Muppets we're talking about here, this little prop is actually a play on words. If you say the phrase quickly enough out loud, you'll say a net full of Jell-O or a net funicello. Pluto, who happens to be the most famous OG Mouseketeer of them all, in our humble opinion. Another fun play on words, I get tickled by one of the crates underneath the TVs that has a whole bunch of flattened fruit sticking out over the top. And what's this crate labeled as? 2D Fruities. Ha. So this is like a really rare secret you might not actually get to experience during your next visit, but I've still got to tell you about it because it's one of those magical moments that makes your heart get all warm and fuzzy and believe in humanity again. At the end of November last year, there was a guest that asked a cast member to take a family picture of her and her family, but instead the cast member declared it a Hollywood Studios family picture and started pulling random guests into the photo. Pretty soon, there were more than 50 people gathered in front of the Chinese theater. Yep, one cast member took the time to create this memory for dozens of guests that they will probably remember forever. These people are strangers, and now they have a collective experience that brought them all together for a happy moment. Now, you can't ask a cast member to do this during your next visit, because then everybody would be asking, and then it becomes less magical and more of a hassle, like servers having to be pulled into a happy birthday song for multiple guests during a single shift. But we hear this happens pretty often, so if you're in the right place at the right time, you may be a part of a family photo. The Great Movie Ride might have ended its run in 2017, but not even its successor will allow us to forget this iconic dark ride of the past. In the carnival scene of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, there's a poster advertising an attraction called the Great Moving Ride, which is an homage to the building's former inhabitant. Bonus secret, in the very same carnival scene, you may spot a sign for a fortune teller that reads Miss Fortunes hanging from up above. This is an additional reference to another Disney World attraction over at Disney's Typhoon Lagoon, which is actually still in the water park today. Miss Fortunes refers to the Misadventure Falls water slide, which was once called Miss Fortune Falls before it was renamed in 2017. And same ride, different story. There are two stories going on inside Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway at all times. The first one stars Mickey and Minnie, duh, but the second one, the B plot, stars their bestest buddy, Pluto. While Mickey and Minnie are trying to get a handle on all the runaway train cars, Pluto is in the background trying to recover the couple's picnic basket that flew out of the trunk during the pre-show. You can do it, Pluto. We believe in you. Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater is one of the most immersive Disney World restaurants, making you feel as if you're actually at a retro outdoor theater, munching on comfort food in an old-fashioned convertible. But not everyone likes the feeling of dining in your car. After all, it does make it harder to talk to your group when everyone's facing forward. And if you have someone who can't slide into a booth like that, you might need something different. Most of the car tables have rows that seat two each, but there are a few cars that have the front and back of the car surrounding a regular table with regular chairs that can be removed to accommodate wheelchairs. There are also picnic tables at the back of the restaurant, and you may be sat there if one of the table-style cars is not available. You can always make a request, but Disney has warned they can't guarantee you a car. Just be sure to request the type of table that you need when you check in at the podium. So if you ever wanted to pen pal some of the biggest names in Hollywood, then you need to check out the names on the crates outside of the Dockside Diner in Echo Lake. These crates have mailing addresses for some classic Hollywood stars, including George Bailey from It's a Wonderful Life, Rick Blaine from Casablanca, and Scarlett O'Hara from Gone with the Wind. Sometimes the park will even switch these crates up to include different Hollywood stars, so keep an eye out for new characters and names, and let us know which ones you find during your next visit. I know the big Millennium Falcon is the real eye-catcher of Galaxy's Edge, but you can find a teeny tiny version of this hunk of junk too if you know where to look. What you'll want to do is head for the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon and look directly underneath it. You'll see a bunch of pipes at first glance, but if you look near those, you'll find an itty-bitty Millennium Falcon hidden underneath. All right, Hollywood Studios, we are well aware of some of your best hidden secrets now, but we also know you have way more secrets up your sleeve just waiting for us to uncover too. So make sure to keep checking back in with us. We're going to continue to fill you in on all the different hidden gems this park and all the other Disney parks have to offer. We keep finding new ones and we'll keep sharing them with you. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.